Hello and welcome to a new Rage Gaming video. My name is Hollow, and today, or more like tonight, I'm doing a quick talk and look at the new interview Capcom just released. The interview comes from a talk with Ryozo Tsuchimoto himself, the producer of the game. This is really good to see because it's like a direct insight into the perspective of the devs, how the game's been made, and how they feel about some of the big and important aspects of Rise, their thoughts on maybe the public reaction to them. Officially, this is the first interview of an upcoming short series we will soon see, in which they interview a bunch of the main Rise developers. Inside these interviews, we could expect potential new information and that important perspective for sure. Naturally, I'd recommend you go read the interview yourself if you are interested. It's pretty interesting and fairly short, so it's well worth it. But what I want to talk about is specifically the questions about wirebugs and Silkbinds. As it turns out, this topic revealed what the devs have experienced with our reaction to these new mechanics. Apparently, a lot of people have reacted somewhat poorly to them. I didn't expect that at all. I love the new movement in Rise. After all, as they say in this interview, the new climbing and wirebug leaping allows us to move around a map in a new way, which in turn allowed them to design maps in a way they've never done so before. It's like a huge step forward for the series in that way. And you can tell in the interview that Ryozo is very pleased with that. And I'm totally with him. It's honestly impressive how these simple new mechanics push the series forward, and hopefully we see them follow into whatever next generation of monster it will be next. Maybe with map design, maybe with the way they've updated monsters, or whatever, who knows. Anyway, what it is about the whole wirebug and Silkbind thing? What is it that people reacted poorly to? They claim in the interview that many people have thought the wirebug actions complicated and hard to use to begin with. Ryozo had this to say about it. It's a completely new feature and it will take some time for people to get used to, but you don't need to use it right from the start. They've made sure the game is still fun and viable without wirebugs. After all, that is true. You have your Palamute to run around the map where needed. You can kind of climb with that and hop up ledges. You've got climbing vines like always. So technically you're not limited by the map if you choose not to use wirebugs. You can still get to any of the zones. And I understand how people might be unsure about them at first though. Like learning how to make the most out of that movement can be tough, but it is so worth it if you get used to it. It seems the devs are confident that people will adjust and get the most out of it with time, and I can agree with that. Ultimately, it's only a couple new keybinds to get used to, and obviously the wirefall ability to spring back up after being knocked down is an incredible new utility we have. To be able to get out of a bad spot instantly instead of slowly getting up while very exposed, it's a huge deal. But this also extended apparently to the new Silkbind attacks too, because the interviewer asked if you can ignore the Silkbind attacks as well as the wirebug movement, if that's too daunting. Is that still a viable way to play the game? Ryozo explained that if you do incorporate your wirebug into your combos with Silkbind attacks, your repertoire of moves will expand significantly. But that also means you have way more choice on top of the already pretty rich amount of strategy you normally have. That's true, because the weapons in Monster Hunter are like nothing else, requiring precise inputs, timing, use of combos, even to fight at a base level, let alone an advanced level where you're maximizing your damage and positioning. Adding new abilities that require specific timing or positioning to even activate can be hard and daunting for a new player, I'm sure. Just like if you grew a third arm. Imagine how that'd take time to learn to use. But when you know how to use it, think about how useful that could be. Weird example, my bad. But yeah, the Silkbinds, the wirebugs, they allow that new movement and combat ability that we've never seen before in many cases. Letting heavy weapons be more aerial or giving new ways to move around a fight, it's great. And 100% worth learning how to use because it feels so good when you do. How was it for you? Did you guys find the wirebugs or Silkbinds awkward to use at first? Personally, the Silkbinds felt like they fit perfectly for me from the get-go. Like, they are, after all, just like the Hunter rats we've used before, but with a different resource to manage instead of building up energy to use them. Whereas the wirebugs, you do fly around pretty fast and it can be awkward, especially mid-combat if you're panicking. Or just learning how to use the new climbing to traverse the map. But that type of thing isn't that important to combat, and it's something you can be slow to learn if you need to be. The sky's the limit. I mean, I managed to cross the entire shrine ruins without touching the floor in that demo, so, maybe the sky isn't the limit. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this part of the interview and how I found that interesting. I am excited to see what else comes from this series of interviews. We might have some interesting things to talk about, so we'll just have to wait and see. I really do recommend you give the full thing a read if you're excited for Rise as I said, it's really nice to hear from the team in this kind of way. For now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.